So, folks, we have to talk about the fact that Markwayne Mullin is, there's no kind way of saying this, a big dumb idiot. And the problem with that is that there's nothing wrong with being a big dumb idiot all on its own, but it does become a problem when you're a big dumb idiot in charge of a lot of very powerful governmental mechanisms. And he has been elevated into that position. He is the new Homeland Security Secretary, and he's been cooking up a new plan. And I haven't really talked a whole lot about this because, frankly, when I first heard that this was being openly considered, I thought to myself, this is really stupid. There's no possible way they could ever implement this, because it's so clearly a bad idea that someone somewhere will stop it. And that has not happened. So here we are, we're talking about it. Yeah, essentially, here's what the plan is. Mullin drawing up plans to halt international flight processing in sanctuary cities. If that gives you a moment of pause to think to yourselves, hey, wait a minute. What is that? What does it mean to end processing of international flights in left-leaning cities? Well, what it means is, essentially, international travel would not be allowed into any left-leaning city. And he's saying he can do this on the basis of his position as Homeland Security Secretary. Let's just, I'm going to play this clip of him real quick, and you guys can listen to him talk about it, all right? He thinks this is a brilliant way to punish cities that are sanctuary cities and are opposing ICE.
Especially the fact that local law enforcement wouldn't respond. And so I visited with the White House today, Sean, and I said, if they're going to not allow us to go out and arrest the worst of the worst, and then when we call for assistance at the facilities, that the street, it belongs to the city. If it belonged to us, we would take care of it, but it belongs to the city, and they're barricading our employees from coming in and out of the facility, then why are we processing international flights into the airport there? And we are currently, which we're not initiating yet, but we're currently drawing up plans to say, listen, in these sanctuary cities where the local radical left Democrats aren't allowing us to do our job and enforce federal laws, then we shouldn't be processing international flights into their cities either, because they don't want us to enforce immigration, but they want us to process immigration at their facilities. Nothing about that makes sense to me.
Now, if you are thinking to yourselves, wait, this just sounds like blatant retaliation. This just sounds like you're big mad about how democratic cities are responding to ICE and CBP, and you're just trying to get revenge by shutting down international travel to those places, which I also want to note are some of the most traveled international spots. Now, I also want to note that when this happens, they don't just divert flights. If this were to actually be put in place, flights would just simply be canceled. They just would cease to exist. And this would be something that would affect Democrats, Republicans. It would affect the entire country. It would affect huge swaths of the economy. And not just in Democratic states. It would affect the economy in red states too. This is, again, I said at the beginning of the show, this is the equivalent of just shooting yourself in the dick as an economy for no reason, right? Yeah, business trips will take this well indeed. Here is what Aaron Reichlin Melnick said. He's a senior fellow at the American Immigration Council. He said, this plan is actively insane. Airlines cannot divert large numbers of international flights from one city to another. They just have to cancel flights en masse, causing enormous economic damage that splashed way beyond a few big cities that were the target. And one of a former Obama administration official said that this has to have enough substance to it that Mullin is willing to go in front of cameras to talk about it. But the ramifications of this would be immense. Like, not only does this not affect immigration policy or anything to do with ICE, it just causes economic damage. It again, it is quite literally the equivalent here of just not even accidentally, on purpose shooting yourself in the dick, but on a national scale. Why? Why would we do this? But again, there's no one in the Trump administration right now, in the cabinet or otherwise, who's willing to say no. The scuttlebutt is that, J.D. Vance is kind of on the outs right now, with Marco Rubio ascending in the eyes of Trump because Tulsi Gabbard left. And Tulsi Gabbard was one of the few people who was like, at least somewhat voicing non-interventionist in foreign affairs terms. And, she lost out on the Iran conversation and now she's gone. Markwayne Mullin is not going to get any pushback from this idea until it becomes even more catastrophic. Like, this is, let it happen before the World Cup. Exactly. Like, the idea that this is a good idea just under normal circumstances is asinine. But the reality is, if they do this, like, hotels are already saying nobody's booking for the World Cup. They're already saying no one's booking. They're already saying, like, there is a colossal crisis. Like, the economic bump from the World Cup hasn't materialized. It's a huge problem. And, like, the reality here is this is exponentially worse. Yet, to own the libs. All of this is to own the libs. And yet, I cannot stress enough, this will cripple red states. Like, if you're trying to attack sanctuary cities, hey guys, where are most international airports in America? Just in case you guys have any questions on that, where do you guys think most international airports are in America? They're in blue cities. They're in blue cities. And those blue cities, a lot of them are sanctuary cities. Like, if you are sitting there saying, oh, we have to end international travel to blue cities, good luck having a functional city. Good luck having a functional state. You're just murdering your taxation base for any kind of budget for no reason. So, I don't know. Look, there is nothing about this that makes sense. It does not solve the problem he's trying to say it solves, which is, I want to stress, blue cities aren't being nice enough to ICE agents. Oh, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo, the poor ICE agents. Why, I bet they're gonna get coal for Christmas, and then Markwayne Mullin is gonna have a go at Santa Claus. A boo-hoo. Like, it's just insanity. There is no reason the entire country has to be a victim to this insanity. But no one seems to be stepping up to the plate to stop it, so, we'll see if America kills the World Cup. I'm sure that will make us a lot of international friends. If we just shut down international travel into America for the World Cup. People will love us. People love it when massive sporting events get canceled. Famously, people love it when, like, the Super Bowl has to be moved. People loved it when the World Series got rained out. Oh yeah, you know what people love in America? Building massive stadiums and then doing nothing in them.
Screw
God.
ICE. Hunger strikes are happening in multiple detention centers and Mullin is crying about us cussing them out.
Oh yeah, no, like, of course. Because every conservative is the biggest fucking crybaby on the planet. Especially conservatives with political power. You would think that the more political power conservatives get, the less crying they would do. But no, they use the power to amplify their crying. It's like giving a baby a megaphone. It's awful. The most single-mindedly victim-brained group in America. And also,
you expected concrete, well-thought-out policy from a man whose parents had two choices for his name, Mark and Wayne, and were stuck mulling it over.
Yeah, Also, can we just talk about real quick? I was about to end, but you just reminded me. Yeah, this is an actual story from 2023. I intended to cover it earlier this year because he was getting confirmed the Homeland Security Secretary. Former GOP House member's wife said Senator Markwayne Mullin put his finger in the noses of sleeping members of Congress and their spouses on a trip to Israel, which is maybe one of the most insane headlines I've ever seen in my life. This guy is deeply weird and very stupid. Okay? Like, if you're wondering, hey, how did this guy have the idea to just shut down international travel to like major travel hubs? I don't know. He's the kind of guy who picks other people's noses as an adult man in Congress. It just absolutely insane. Yeah, Cappy Trot. Where are they formulating these names? Cappy Trot. Kappy space Trott. Actual name. The wife of former Representative David Trott described this story to Politico on Friday. She said the event occurred amidst a trip to Israel in 2015 with the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Yeah, that's right. This happened with AIPAC on an AIPAC-sponsored trip, alongside nearly 40 members of Congress and some of their spouses. Once the group landed in Israel, following a laborious travel schedule, she told the publication they immediately jumped onto buses headed for a kibbutz for a demonstration of the country's Iron Dome defense system. Exhausted already, she said, many of the spouses of the U.S. legislators on the trip took the bus ride as an opportunity to catch up on sleep. Mullin, then a member of the House at the time, reportedly had other plans. Trott said she and her husband personally witnessed the Oklahoma legislator walk up and down the bus and stick his finger in the noses of several dozed-off passengers. Quote, this idiot starts walking up and down the bus with his camera, and anyone who fell asleep, he would put his finger in their nose and take a picture, she said. What an insane sack of shit. Anyway, that's our current Homeland Security director, folks. Great stuff from Markwayne Mullin. Yeah, leave a comment. Do you think it's appropriate to pick the noses of members of Congress? Give me a pros and cons list in the comments. And also, get organized, folks. Join your local Dems. Join your local DSA. All right? We need to make your local Dems more progressive and just more pro-working class. We need to make our DSAs more effective. Get out there. Get organized. Beat the nose pickers.
I wouldn't blame any women from leaving that family because they're too hot to trot.
Sake Tanuki with the zingers over here. Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Very much appreciated. And yeah, last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. Check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com. It is comfy, it is sexy, and it's non-tucking lingerie. Go check it out. Link down in the doobly-doo. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.